Namaste, yoga friends. My name's Doreen Foxwell. Welcome to today's Kids Yoga Meets Astrology. We are covering the sign of Gemini in this video. First of all, we just entered Gemini season earlier this week. If you were born this year on May 20th, it had a split between Taurus and Gemini. Earlier in the day was Taurus, later in the day was Gemini. But some years, May 21st is when Gemini season starts. Gemini season goes through June 20th, and the same thing happens for any sign of the zodiac. If it's the first day or the last day, it changes sometimes from year to year. Think about leap years, and so that changes. And so anyway, Gemini season happened earlier this week, and it changes the energy we were in. We're coming to the very first air sign in the zodiac new year. So the first sign altogether of the zodiac year was Aries. Then we went into Taurus. Now Aries is fire. Taurus is earth. This is just the elements that go with the sign. And there are 4 different elements. And right now we're entering the air signs. The introduction to the air signs, the baby of the air signs, let's say. So being an air sign, you are all in your head. It has a lot to do with your thought processes and thinking. And and Gemini is the start of that thinking, let's say. Not that the last 2 zodiac signs didn't think, of course they do. But Gemini and other air signs, you've got Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, might be missing one. I think those are your air signs. They, let me just look and see if I'm missing any. Oh, it doesn't say. Well, those are your ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Those 3, Gemini starts it, and think about it. If you're the baby in something, you haven't yet mastered some of those skills. So Gemini is very busy, very, very busy. And they like to do a lot of things all at once, or try this and try that and try this. And so it's great to always encourage them. What Gemini needs help with is sometimes the thought process is they can start something, but how do you continue it or finish it? They're very good passing things along to somebody else to do, but they just love to be involved in a lot of things, and there's nothing wrong with that for Gemini. It makes you really think and communicate. They are very talkative. And so for those of us that are teachers, and we might have students that are very talkative, they are usually the air signs and stuff. And so it's very funny. The more you know about astrology, the easier it is sometimes to deal, if you're a teacher, in your classrooms and what your expectations should be. You know what? Treating all kids the same doesn't always work. It's not always the best type of response, because air signs are very different than fire signs, which fire signs is like charge. Now, so air signs might have a zillion questions for you, but why? But why? But why? But tell me this, but why? I don't understand, but why? So yes, that is a little bit about Gemini. Now, this weekend, or actually tomorrow, we go into a new moon. And a new moon is when the moon is completely dark, it's completely black. You will not be able to really see it. Maybe a slight outline of it, but not usually. It'll be very dark night. You'll be able to see lots of stars if it's not cloudy or overcast in the sky. And a new moon in the sign of Gemini means that whatever your intentions are for this new moon, when it's a new moon, it's when you want to send out those goals, those wishes, those intentions, new energy, something new you might be facing, something new you want to achieve, or something new you want to do. You have to think about it now in the sign of Gemini, and in the sign of Gemini has to be with communication, let's say. And so is there anything you've been putting off saying to somebody? Is there anything you personally have been putting off as far as thinking about? Geminis do a lot of thinking. They're not the kind of sign that doesn't think. They do think, they just think quickly about things and a lot of things. There are other more advanced signs, let's say like a Libra and an Aquarius. They almost will overthink things. Geminis won't necessarily overthink things. But so you've got your Gemini energy and you need to think for yourself. Ah, that's perfect. That's saying think for yourself. There you go. That's perfect for the new moon in Gemini. So let's just take a moment. When you are using your thinking brain before you speak, how do you get this to work better with this? And so that is a very excellent opportunity, let's say, for Gemini children or even anyone affected by this new moon. And your special needs children will be more affected by the new moon than anybody else. And then Geminis will be very affected by this new moon, of course. And so how do you get them to focus on this first before this works? And so really, yoga is such a great opportunity to help ground them. And one of the best ways now that it's getting nicer is to be outside. Just sit, have them sit in the grass. Have them sit in the forest or stand. Have them sit in your gardens. Have them help you plant things with their hands. It really helps to ground them. But if you don't have that around you or that opportunity where it's been constantly raining, what you could do is just have them imagine and think that they're a flower. And we're going to go into lotus pose. I'm in half lotus right now with my legs. Most people can only do half lotus pose. But you can all do with your hands, hopefully, the lotus pose in front of your heart. And what you want to do is you want that heart to connect up here to your brain. That heart energy connect to the brain, or the brain to connect to the heart. And how do you do that? By not speaking with this mouth that's in between the two. You can close your eyes, you can breathe, you can think about the color flower you're going to grow in your beautiful yoga garden. And that, my friends, is today's Kids Yoga Meets Astrology. Namaste. Have a great